Welcome to Unbreakably Bold. I'm your host, Christina Delgado. This podcast is for anyone who is ready to step into their power, stop doubting their abilities, and begin to live their life in alignment. On this podcast, we will talk all things mindset, relationships, personal development, confidence, and so much more. I'm here to foster intentional conversations, drop some knowledge, and learn alongside you all with the aim of showing up as empowered and unbreakably bold every single day. No matter where you are on your journey of doing the work, this podcast is guaranteed to make you feel less alone. Let's get into it, shall we? Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday, and welcome back to another episode of Unbreakably Bold. It's your girl, Christina Delgado, back at it with another solo ep for you guys. Woohoo! Exciting stuff right here. I am actually videoing this episode this time, so we'll see how that goes. Lots happening here. So that's what's happening behind the scenes. I'm a little bit uncomfy in front of the camera at the moment, so hopefully I'll start vibing soon. That being said, this episode, it's first of all, it's Virgo season. Shout out to all my Virgos out there. We are one of a kind. This is going to be a great season for all of us. And I really wanted to do like a fun birthday themed episode, and I definitely still might do that. But this month has been pretty challenging for me. I feel like there's always a little bit of challenge in every single month. And honestly, with the launch of the podcast last month, I thought that it would really be, I guess I launched the podcast this month, but geez, I mean, a lot of my work was done in July. So I thought it would be last month, but we're back. And this month has been a challenge. A new little element that has been brought into my life is, well, some of you guys may know I am single and not that ready to mingle, but I am single, and I have been single for about a little over a year and a half now. So I'm kind of just open to dating and hanging out with people. I am not personally really looking for a relationship, but you know, God in the universe always has something planned differently than I do. So if that's what they want for me, then I'm out here just vibing, going on dates with very, very select people. Because honestly, I hate dating. I really don't like dating at all. I'm trying to have a big mindset switch with it and be like, it's an opportunity to learn about new people and learn about yourself, you know. But honestly, there's nothing less I'd want to do than sit in front of another person that I don't really know and eat a whole meal. Like, it's just not my vibe. But I've entertained a couple, and they've been pretty good, I will say. But with dating being this new element in my life right now, it is teaching me a lot more than I expected it to. I didn't know if I was necessarily ready for a relationship, but this, you know, I've been going out on dates for a little bit now, probably like this whole month a little, and it's making me think about some things. Actually, this month I've had a lot of anxiety, and I've really I have different coping strategies and mechanisms to work through my anxiety, and they typically work pretty well. But man, this month I've really honestly struggled. And in the first intro episode of Unbreakably Bold, I think that I had mentioned that, you know, healing and personal development and growth, it's not linear. You know, it ebbs and flows. You're working through something and you're on a high, and then next thing you're in maybe a depressive episode, or something triggers you. You get in a fight with your friend and it brings you back down, and then you learn, and then you go back up, and it's just up and down all the time. And I know that personal development and healing and just growth overall isn't something that you do for X amount of time and then you're fine. I'd like to say I know that, but it really today, it just it really clicked. And I feel like every time I go through one of these downhill parts of my healing and growth journey, it just reminds me, it brings me back and it reminds me of that. And this podcast is here to help other people, and I hope that my experiences and the journey that I'm going through can support you guys when you're going on your own. And if you're going through your inner work journey and you feel really good and then you just feel really bad, it's okay. You know, you think that you master lessons, you feel like you heal from different things and situations, and then it comes back up, and then you feel angry, you feel confused, you might feel shame. I felt all of those things this week. So let's talk about it. Okay, so I go on a date with this guy. I don't want to give away anyone's name, identity. I don't want people to know who the heck I'm talking about, and I'm going to keep it pretty discreet. I've heard in podcasts when they like do little nicknames. Maybe I'll do that. But this guy in particular, to be honest, I thought that I was showing up more to help him just through conversations we've had. Like, I just have a way of kind of digging deep with people. I'm really not a surface level chick. I love to dig deep. I love to learn about every single person that I sit in front of, and I want to know what makes you you. I want to know about your family. I want to know about your friends. I want to know about your fears, your passion. I want to know about all those things. I'm a very deep thinker, and those are the things that make me feel connected to the people around me. And I think that feeling connected to the people around us is, it's really like the most important thing you can do. We're all human beings and we all want to be connected and feel loved by one another and feel understood and heard. So that being said, we go on a couple of dates and, you know, I really like him and I'm getting to know him and I'm like, okay, this guy's cool, whatever. But something is off. I'm like, something's happening here. Not exactly sure what, but I got to figure this out. So we're on a date and we're talking, and I just feel like I'm talking a lot, man. And I do be talking a lot. I mean, shit, I got my own podcast and I can stand on my own. I do solo episodes. So I'm talking a lot and I'm like, can I ask you a question? And I was like, I feel like I don't, like, you're not saying anything. And I'm like, I feel like I don't fully know who you are. And I was like, let me ask you, do you feel like you're just a little bit emotionally unavailable? And, you know, if you know me, I mean, I personally think I'm assertive. I'd like to say I'm assertive. Others may call me straight up aggressive. I am pretty blunt, so you call me what you want. But the point is I get to the point. I want to know. So I ask. And, you know, he could have really taken that bad. Thank God he's a great person, because he responded back and he was like, well, yeah, like I think I'm a lot emotionally unavailable, actually. And we have a good conversation about that. And I loved that he shared it with me. And, you know, we got in there a little bit. It was good. And then I went home and it just made me think. I'm a big reflector. Like, when I have conversations with people and I go back home by myself, I like to dig in there. And I'm like, could I have been better in that situation? What could I have said differently? Whatever. And I'm a huge overthinker, so I don't know if that's for the best, but that is the truth. That's what I do. So I go home and I think, and I'm like, am I emotionally unavailable? Because I got to thinking and I was like, I mean, right now I could see how I could kind of be emotionally unavailable, right? Like, I'm not really looking to date. I'm just out on this date with this person because I kind of had like a little crush on him and we vibed, you know, like, but am I looking for a whole boyfriend tomorrow? Hell no. Like, count me out. I really don't want to. So I start to think and I start to do some research, and it says that emotionally unavailable people are attracted to other emotionally unavailable people. Well, would you look at that? Like, I will be damned. So I dig into that. And, you know, the way I really do my reflecting is I pull out a journal, which I have here. This is literally how my journals look half the time. This is how my notes look. It's basically just like a web. I'll put a picture up on Insta, but it's like a web of just like my thoughts and theories, and this leads to this and this leads to this. So I'm like, okay, I'm emotionally unavailable. Why? Why am I emotionally unavailable? Other than the fact that I don't want a man right now. And honestly, I did a little bit of digging, but not too much. Like, I was just like, okay, I get it. I'm emotionally unavailable now. Like, I don't really know why, but I think the fact that I am just single and I don't really want to date anyone seriously right now is why. But then it got me thinking, and I was like, am I emotionally unavailable in every relationship that I've ever been in? And I'm like, yeah, I was. And let's just like go, this episode is not about being emotionally unavailable. I would like to say, I'm just like, this is really the trigger for my thought process for this whole entire experience. So that's why we're going through it. But I start thinking about it. I talk about it with a friend. We're talking about like her guy and this guy that I'm hanging out with, and us two. We're like, are we emotionally unavailable? Like, what's happening here? And then I have like another conversation, like literally like this past weekend with the guy that I'm hanging out with. And we kind of like dug a little bit deeper into something else. And it really got me thinking. I think at one point he asked me, like, it feels like you're just looking for things that are wrong or something like that. And I was like, I agree. Like, I really am out here just like nitpicking the fuck out of you. And honestly, I tended to kind of do that with a lot of situations. I'm pretty critical. I do blame that on my Virgo tendencies, but obviously I know a lot of people don't believe in astrology, so I won't joke around about it. But ultimately, it comes down to fear. And honestly, just recently I thought about this, and fear is literally at the root, or used to be at the root of everything that I did. Every negative reaction that I had, every sip of alcohol I'd take for the most part, every negative conversation I've had with somebody, honestly, half the decisions I made in my life, I made out of fear. Fear, fear, fear. And I've known that I've self-sabotaged before, and I've known that I've done it in relationships. And I thought that just because I identified that I self-sabotaged was enough. And I'm now learning, as I'm getting back into dating, that I need to figure out why I'm self-sabotaging. You know, like, I need to go down this web, and I'm terrified to do it. But I'm going to fucking do it. Because I don't know if I mentioned this in the first episode, but, you know, the biggest catalyst for my inner work journey is obviously for myself. And like, my end goal is like, I want to be in the best mindset and headspace to be able to pick the best spouse for me and the best spouse for my children that I have. That's my priority, is my children. I don't have children right now, but in the future I absolutely will. And I want to give them the best possible life that I can. But it really started for me too, because I was kind of going through 2 breakups at the time. And I know it's messy, whatever. But I was going through 2 breakups at the time, and I realized that I hurt 2 of the most important people in my life at that time. And those people, well, one of those people is still very important to me. The other one will be important to me from afar for forever. But that was really like the biggest thing. I was like, I have to stop hurting people. Like, I'm just blindly hurting people because I'm just like unintentionally living my life, and I'm just unintentionally going through relationships and living with guys, and like, I'm just so unintentional. And when I think about it, every decision I made is rooted from fear. So I start to think, okay, I'm like, okay, Christina, you're emotionally unavailable. Why are you emotionally unavailable? Why are you self-sabotaging? What is scaring you? Like, what is holding you back? Because I realized after the whole thing, I'm like, I have always had one foot in and one foot out of every single relationship, romantic relationship that I've ever been in. And honestly, probably friendship too. Like, I'm ready to dip out on you whenever I feel the time is right. Whenever I feel like I am being threatened in any way, I'm out. Easy peasy. You know, like, we've already done 2 episodes on letting go of family members and friends. Like, I'll cut you off. You know, I mean, I'm trying to be better now because I'm repositioning. Thank you to Della. But regardless, it's all fear. So I'm about to get real with y'all about fear and how it's shown up for me in my relationships. And this is literally work that I did yesterday / today. So I self-sabotage from fear, and I also look into my attachment style. If you haven't looked into your attachment style in relationships, I 10 out of 10 highly recommend that you do that. I'm actually planning to do an attachment style episode, so stay tuned for that. I think it'll be pretty cool, but it's very interesting. And my attachment style is fearful avoidant, which I did some research. It's like basically one of the most complicated, attachment styles that you can have, because it's super confusing, because it's like you want so badly to love somebody, right? Like you want so badly to have that intimacy with somebody, but you're avoidant. You're fearful of it. So it's like you're always 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And it's so true. And I thought about that. And I think what I figured out is that my fear is a fear of abandonment. And I feel like a lot of people could probably resonate with that. And when I first think like, okay, it could be a fear of abandonment, my first thought is, well, no one's ever really like left me, right? Like no one's abandoned me. You know, every boyfriend I've had, I leave them, to be completely honest. Like I leave them, you know, both my parents still in my life, never left me. Definitely have had my hard times with them, but we're still here, still intact. And then I am looking into it, and there's such thing as emotional abandonment. And that one got me, because although my parents are still in my life, you know, I do have some daddy issues. And although he's still in my life, I definitely feel like I was emotionally abandoned for really like my whole entire life until I moved out at 18 years old and moved across the country. And let me just look into, just so I can give you guys some good context. Emotional abandonment can occur when parents stifle their children's emotional expression, put down or ridicule their children, hold their children to standards that are too high, rely too heavily on children for their own sense of worth, and treat their children as peers. Literally pretty much all those to a T, me. Me and my life. And so, yeah, man, that. And then another fun fact about me is that I do not know my biological father. And, you know, so when I say my dad, when I say daddy issues, whatever, I'm talking about my dad that came into my life. Literally, he was there when I was born. So, I mean, I didn't even know that he wasn't my biological dad until, I don't even know, middle school. And I don't want to get into that. That can be for another time. That's probably something I can definitely open up about. But, you know, before him, there was a biological father. I don't know him. He left me he left my mom when he found out that she was pregnant of me. So, I mean, technically, I have been abandoned, right? Like, I was abandoned before I was even born. And trauma actually sets in when you're still in the womb. I don't know if people realize that, but trauma can set in to you and affect your brain before you're even born. So, yeah. So today I found out that I have a fear of abandonment. I have a fear of people leaving. And I also have found that I'm very codependent. And I think it's because I'm so scared of someone leaving that I feel like I have to literally pour all of myself into them for them to stay. I feel like we have to like the same things. I feel like we have to do the same things. You know, I'm very infatuated with the partners, or I was very infatuated with the partners that I've been with previously. And I'm not like proud to say that. That's just facts. And I think if you struggle with abandonment issues, I think if you struggle with codependency, you know, anything like that, I don't think you should be embarrassed. I think there's a reason that you're like that. And I think it's important to recognize why you're like that. And I think it's important to do the work because it's not healthy. So that's a little bit about where I think I'm at. And honestly, throughout these past few weeks, I've really it's taken a hit to my anxiety pretty bad. I set up a therapy appointment with my therapist. I was like, you know what? I got to figure this out. And luckily I get to go into it next week, and I've already done all this work, and I have somewhere new for us to start. So I'll update you guys on that and let you know what she tells me. But that's what I want to talk about today, guys, is that growing is really fucking hard. And I've been crying. I've been uncomfortable. My gut health has been trash this month. Like, I literally have barely really been able to eat. I haven't been on top of my routine as much as I would like to. Like, I have been struggling with so much anxiety, and I couldn't really pinpoint it. I thought it was because I was nervous to go on dates. Like, I didn't realize, like, the why am I nervous to go on dates? The why am I nervous to date somebody again? Like, why? And yeah, I just want to encourage you guys to dig in. And when you're at these times where you're really good and then you fall into a depressive episode, or you fall into a huge panic attack, or you go to this lower place or this lower vibration of thinking that you're really not trying to do, right? Like, we're not trying to get low. Like, we're out here growing, we're out here learning, but it's okay. Because with every breakdown means that you are so close to a breakthrough. Like, when I tell you, when I mapped all this stuff out today, when I tell you, like, I can smell my fucking breakthrough. I feel like I am so close. And this, I feel like once I talk it out with my therapist, once I dig in more to my childhood, once I dig in more to my adult life and how I've been integrating this abandonment and this self-sabotage and this anxiety into everything that I've been doing, like, I feel like I'm going to be so much healthier of a person because I did the work. And although yesterday I felt shame and I felt guilt because, you know, of how I had treated people in the past because of these issues that I'm dealing with, and honestly how I'm treating these people that I'm dating now, like, that was my biggest thing, was I'm like, great, I'm bringing another fucking random person into my shit. And I didn't even mean to. I didn't even know I had shit. I thought I was healed. I thought I was helping him. So it's okay to be in your head, and it's okay to feel like you're spiraling. I feel like if you're on your inner work journey and you're not crying, if you're not spiraling, if you're not overthinking, if you're not digging in, if you're not feeling lonely, if you're not feeling some sort of guilt or weird, uncomfortable feeling, like, are you doing the work? Or are you doing shit half-ass? Are you doing things surface level? Are you saying, okay, I'm emotionally unavailable. That's okay. Let's keep it moving. Like, no. Let's dig in. Let's figure out why we're emotionally unavailable. And then when you figure out why, ask the next why. And ask the next why. And keep asking why, until you get down to the golden nugget. For me, this week, today, the golden nugget was abandonment issues. So I just want to say, if there's anyone that is feeling the way that I'm feeling, I'm proud of you. Because this shit sucks. Honestly, this shit is tough, but I feel so rewarded. I feel so good about what I'm doing, and I feel so blessed and grateful to have the brain that I do and to have the resources that I have to be able to go book a therapy appointment, you know, to be able to pull up pen and paper and just jot shit down. I feel grateful to be able to be doing this podcast and putting a mic in front of my face and just talking. I feel grateful to have the opportunity to go out on dates with pretty fucking amazing people. You know, like, I think it's important when you're in this, like, lower part, this breakdown part of the inner work, like, let's remember how grateful we should be and how grateful we are and how many things that we have that are right in front of our face that are beautiful and things that are working and flowing for us. So on that note of gratitude, I'm going to leave on that. I think that's a really good note to go off of. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I know I can ramble my ass off. I'm hoping that with doing podcasting, I can get better at that and get better at my communication. You know, it's all God's plan, but that's my plan. And I hope that you guys were able to take something away from this. In the description of this podcast, I do have an anonymous form for anonymous questions. You can write in any questions you have or any advice that you may need, any subjects or topics that you might like a little bit of guidance on. You know, it may not be just me, but I can go find someone who can speak about whatever it is to help you guys out. So please use that form. It's 1000% anonymous. I swear I will never know who writes into it. Once again, I'm really here to serve you guys and help you guys. So if you enjoyed this episode, or if you feel like it could help somebody else, please send it, share it. I'm really always trying to grow the podcast and keep it going, so more beautiful people like yourself can get a hold of it. And I hope that it just adds value, and that you guys can feel a little bit more heard and seen with it. So thank you guys for your time. I really appreciate you guys, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your week. Love you all. Until next time. Bye.